Y'all, we're making sugar cookies. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the random web series where we find, test, and sometimes create the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, just in time for the holidays, we're tackling sugar cookies. Stay tuned. Well, for many of us, the holidays are not the holidays until you make that first batch of Christmas cookies or holiday sugar cookies. So I promise you a recipe that's going to deliver that soft and buttery texture that's slightly crisp, slightly chewy, just a perfect rendition of a holiday sugar cookie. Now, before we begin, I want to give a huge thank you to Perfect Keto for sponsoring this video. Perfect Keto is probably one of the most well-respected manufacturers of keto foods and products. And I had been using their collagen supplement for several months. And when they reached out to me and wanted to sponsor a video, I was thrilled that they asked and was glad to lend my name because I have looked for a collagen supplement. This is a long story short, I hope. I have, for my entire life, had splitting, peeling nails. My mother, rest her soul, had the same issue. We both had nails that they don't split, they peel off. And so in researching that several months ago, I was like, I've got to put a stop to this somehow. I ran across the fact of the studies showing collagen can help hair, skin, nails, joints. And so I found Perfect Keto. It was a grass-fed collagen supplement, and you just put it in your coffee in the mornings. And I had been using this for months and definitely tell a difference in my nails. Now, there's also some studies that show that it helps fine lines and wrinkles. At 45 years old, I sure as heck hope so. But anyway, it does help for people who have any kind of joint issues, soft tissue damage, fingernail. It helps with hair growth, and it's just an all-around good protein supplement. Collagen is it is the most prolific protein in the human body. We're like 35% collagen. It makes up all of our joints, our cartilage, like I said, our skin, hair, and nails. So the magic about collagen, for our purposes here, is that collagen also is fantastic in baked recipes that are low carb because they lend in that soft, supple texture that we often miss in keto or low carb baked goods. And instead of crumbly mess, we're going to come up with something that feels, looks, and tastes like a real sugar cookie. All right, now this video goes live on Black Friday, and this is what's special about this is they are offering up to 55% off of their products through the Cyber Monday. So from Friday through Monday, you can get up to 55% off of their products. If you've ever wanted to try one of their products, they've got fantastic keto bars, their nut butters, the collagen supplements. They have whey protein that's great for baking and just a protein supplement. If you've ever wanted to try any of that, now's the time to do it. There's going to be a link down below in the video description and in the first comment. I'm going to pin a comment there as well. So thank you very much, Perfect Keto, for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. And now, let's make some cookies. Okay, so let's get started on our recipe here. The most important parts of this recipe are sifting and refrigeration. Don't make me say it. Sift, y'all. Sift. So we're going to start our sifting into a bowl for a stand mixer, and I'm going to give you the ingredients here. This is 2 cups of blanched almond flour, and you want to sift all this very well. To that, we're going to add a 1/4 cup of coconut flour. And here is our sort of magic ingredient. This is our Perfect Keto unflavored collagen. The unflavored is the most versatile, but I'll tell you what, if you buy the chocolate or the vanilla, it makes a very good cookie too, like a slight cocoa cookie. It has some sweetener, some stevia in it as well. But if you use the vanilla, just adjust the vanilla in the recipe that I'm about to add. So anyway, this is 1 scoop. There's a scoop inside of here of the Perfect Keto collagen. If you're using another brand or you don't have a scoop, it's about 3 tablespoons of collagen, okay? This is a 1/2 cup of powdered erythritol sweetener. You can use a powdered monk fruit, powdered erythritol. This is in particular is powdered Swerve. You really want the powdered. If you don't have powdered, you have granulated, run it through a blender or a food processor and get it powdered. So a 1/2 cup of that and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just fine sea salt. And obviously, we're just going to sift this out. Okay, so we've got our dry ingredients that have been sifted, and we're going to use the paddle attachment on a stand mixer. Just turn this on low for a minute and sort of just let that incorporate. Just let it get a good mix on it first. Okay, after this is mixed for a couple of seconds, here's where we're going to work kind of methodically. This is a half a cup of butter, a stick of butter, right? And we've cubed it up, and it is softened and is at room temperature. You don't want it melted, don't melt it, but do let it come to room temperature. Cut it up first. It's easier to cut it before it's softened. So we're going to add this basically 1 or 2 cubes at a time, and we're not going to mix this more than about 60 seconds tops. You do not want to over mix this. The butter gets too hot, it becomes a batter instead of a dough. So turn this up to medium, and then 1 cube at a time. We're just going to toss them in there over the course of about 30 seconds, 60 seconds tops. Okay, just as you see where it's getting, it's kind of crumbly and sandy looking, right? You do not want to turn this into a batter, people. So to this, we're going to quickly add in, this is 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and a ½ teaspoon of almond extract, okay? So I'm just going to turn this back on and just let this mix real quickly. Don't let it go long. Okay, as you can see, this has formed into almost there. It's almost at a dough. We're going to do a little bit of kneading first. So what you're going to do, get out of the way, take this out, and we are going to just gather this up with our hands, and we are going to put it in some cling wrap, right? This is where the refrigeration comes in. This is possibly the most important part of this recipe, is the refrigeration. This is how we're going to make these cookies, delicately shaped cookies, keep their shape. Okay, so just gather up your dough here. Make sure there's nothing left behind. And you might want to knead it just a little bit. Oh, that almond smells so good. And you might think, why in the world, with 2 cups of almond flour, would you put almond extract in there? But it's really a very different flavor. Almond extract doesn't taste like almonds to me. It tastes like buttery baked goods. You know, that cinnamon roll icing, the sugar cookie. And that little ½ teaspoon is all you need, but it makes all the difference in the end result, I promise you. So I know it's weird to add almond extract to all this almond flour, but do it, okay? So we're just gonna wrap this up, and in the fridge, make sure it's tight. Put this ball, kind of flatten it out a little bit. Put this ball in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, and I'll see you in just a minute, okay? 30 minutes, be right back. All right, guys, so we're back, and after your dough has chilled out in the refrigerator for about a ½ hour, it's now time to roll it out. So now I know you're going to say, Wesley, where did all that dough go? This is about half of what you had before. I did. This is dough that I made yesterday. Obviously, when I am doing recipe development, I make this thing 4 or 5 times, right? Maybe even more. So this is the last batch of good dough I had. So we're going to put this on a piece of parchment paper, and we're just going to roll this out. And the thickness matters. You want this to be, this may be still a little too cold because it did stay, mine stayed in the fridge all night, overnight. So you want this to be about a 1/4 inch thick to get the perfect cookie consistency. Now obviously you're going to have much more dough than this, so don't be alarmed if you feel like, oh, his is so much smaller than mine. I've already made cookies out of this dough before, and that's another important thing is when you're baking these, you're going to do it in a 325-degree oven. When you're baking these, do not crowd the pan up. I just find that the cookies do not cook evenly. It's best to put just a few on a plate, maybe 6 or 8 cookies on a large baking pan, and then bake them on the center oven rack, 1 pan at a time. Don't try to do multiple pans. They just don't bake evenly. And I turn them halfway through. I turn the pan around because some people's ovens don't. Mine doesn't. Mine doesn't bake evenly. So I know my oven pretty well, and you have to turn your stuff. So roll this out. Just kind of check it. Yeah, that looks good. So we're rolled out. Now, depending on how long you worked on this, it's probably best to put this on a sheet pan. Put it back in the fridge for 5 more minutes. If you've been rolling out on it for a while, I did mine pretty quickly, but if you've got more dough than that, it's going to take longer than that. So roll it out, put it back in the fridge for 5 minutes, and come back, and now we're going to take the cookie cutters to it. All right, so I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, so this is chilled for just a few more minutes. You just want to make sure that that the dough is nice and sturdy. So take off this top piece, and here's where we're going to start cutting out some cookies. Again, you're going to have much more dough than this. Ooh, I split it down the middle. Wesley, we'll work around that. Now, y'all, I had to look hard to find Christmas cookie cutters in my cabinets, and I did find a snowman, and then the others I just had to use the letter J, and this one is Darth Vader. So let's cut some cookies out of here, and while this is good and chilled is when you want to do your work, right? I'm going to work around those cracks that I created. Because obviously, you're going to roll this back up and get more cookies out of it. Put it back in the refrigerator while you're waiting on it. So, we take these and just gently pull them off of here. If they fight you, put them in the fridge. Put them back in the fridge. Don't let them ruin your day. That looks like the Taco Bell bell. Let's see where mine is. So, give them some space. Like I said, don't crowd them in the pan. This one's the most, oh, I tore him up. See, you're going to have to just redo him. The candy cane's the hardest one. Yes, I know it's not a letter J. I'm not an idiot. Well, that's debatable. But gently, come on off of there, Bubba. Come on off of there, Bubba. And when they behave like that, it probably needed to stay in the fridge just a few more minutes. Okay? And here's our last little snowman. So this is enough for our first batch right now. Obviously, I could have done this a little more professionally, but gather all this back up, put it back in your plastic wrap, put it in the fridge, and then while this is baking, roll you out some more. I know it sounds like overkill. These cutouts need to go in the fridge for 5 minutes before you put them in the refrigerator. Before you put them in the oven. It really is what helps keep the shape and keeps them from spreading. So in the fridge for 5 minutes, then they go in the oven at 325 degrees for 13 to 15 minutes. Start checking them at 13. I turn them halfway through. At about 7 minutes, I turn the pan. And you don't want them to brown. You want them to be slightly starting to get golden brown around the edges. And when you take them out of the oven, you're going to leave them on this pan for 15 minutes. They're going to finish cooking on this pan. After 15 minutes, you're going to take them off gently with a spatula and put them on a cooling rack. So we'll do that and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so we are back, and as you can see, you know me, I can't wait I like to eat hot stuff. These were in the oven. They have been on the pan, cooling on the pan for about 15 minutes, which they need to do to finish cooking. And then they cooled here. They've probably been on the rack for about 5 minutes. And I cooked them a little too long, as you can see. These are in the oven for 12 minutes. So, you know, I said 13 to 15, so start checking them a little bit earlier than that. Really, the turnout is going to depend on how cool the batter, the dough, and the pan were when they came out of the fridge. The longer they were in the fridge, the more time it's going to take. But, and as you know, almond flour is pretty high in fat, so they tend to burn a little quicker than regular sugar cookies that were made with wheat flour. But these are still beautiful and are going to work out perfectly. I've got another batch in the back there. I've got 2 batches of dough to make, so my evening is going to be spent making lots of cookies and decorating. Speaking of decorating, a lot of people just like a regular plain sugar cookie, just like this, and some people like a decorated sugar cookie with an icing. Now you can certainly, while they're still warm, you could sprinkle a little bit of granulated Swerve or monk fruit on top if you like a crunchy sugar cookie topping. But if you want to decorate these with icing, just like a decorated Christmas cookie, it's really simple. Take the same powdered sweetener that you use, whether that's monk fruit or erythritol, Swerve, whatever you're using. Take 3/4 of a cup of sweetener and mix in 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. And then once you've got something that is liquid and well mixed, divide that into 3 different bowls. So you've got a 1/4 cup in each bowl, and then add in the appropriate amount of food coloring that you're going to use to dye them whatever color you want them to be. And that's going to change the consistency a little bit, and you may need to add in a little touch of water to get it to a proper consistency. Do it by the teaspoon or half teaspoonful. Once you have the 3 or 4 colors that you're going to make, put them in a Ziploc bag, a small Ziploc bag, push it down to the corner, and gently snip off just a tiny little bit of the corner, and then use that to pipe on your icing and decorate your cookies. But I got to try these now. I know you're interested in them. Let's take one of these. That really is beautiful. I know I said it was Darth Vader, but it's a bell. And most almond flour recipes, this would just, watch, look at that. Look at that, hold on. don't do my face. You see what's happening? It bends and doesn't crumble apart. And that's the part that I love about this recipe, is that it has the soft, it's lightly crispy around the edges, yet still buttery and soft. The almond extract really makes this. And they're not overly sweet. There's only a half a cup of sweetener in that whole batch, and depending on what size cookie cutter you use, this makes about 20 cookies. So it gives you some room there if you want to decorate them, that they're not just cloyingly, overly sweet, and everybody's like, what is this sweetener? I love these just as they are, and they're so pretty. So there you have it, folks. Low-carb holiday sugar cookies. It can be done quite effectively, I might add. Just maybe take them out of the oven 30 seconds before I did. As I say every time, guys, thank you for joining me. These videos are a way for me to maintain my low-carb way of eating. And looking in the end of that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. So I appreciate that you have come along for the journey. Thank you also to Perfect Keto for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate you partnering with me on this. And I can attest to the fact of the collagen is really over the last few months has improved my nail strength, which was the whole reason of me getting involved with a collagen supplement to begin with, and it has greatly changed. Now, I don't know anything about the fine lines and wrinkles, but if I start looking younger, y'all don't know why. But the most important part of this is that today is Black Friday. So from today, November 29th, 2019 through December 2nd, which is Cyber Monday, you can save up to 55% off of the Perfect Keto product. So be sure to check out the link that's going to be in the video description below and in the first pinned comment to get those specials. After the December 2nd, I'll replace those links with just the regular link for my affiliate link. So I'd really appreciate it if you'd go check them out. Thank you guys for joining me. Be sure to hit the bell button down below if you're a subscriber. That'll let you know just as soon as I release a new video. If you're not a subscriber, join me. Normally we test and review multiple recipes, but sometimes I bring you an original one just like this. So thank you so much. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming along. Ouch.